For those who missed my lecture on the octopus Thursday before last, let me introduce myself. My name is Ken Thomas, and I am a parapolitical researcher and writer. In the parlance of mainstream America, I am a conspiracy theorist. I publish a magazine, Steam Shovel Press, that has the motto, "All conspiracy, no theory." I also have in print about a dozen books on various conspiracy topics, including one with this title. I regard the Maury Island book as sort of a prequel to the events of another one of my books entitled The Octopus. That's from lectures in the book Parapolitics, Conspiracy in Contemporary America by Ken Thomas, and this is published by Adventures Unlimited Press. And Ken Thomas will be my guest on my Blog Talk Radio show this Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, Ken Thomas, parapolitical researcher or conspiracy theorist if you prefer, will be my guest on blogtalkradio.com/the Stench of Truth. Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, April 22nd. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth here on YouTube. Just want to say a few things. First of all, for all of the people, and particularly this would apply, I imagine, to the Tea Party types and those who are on the conservative side of things. First of all, okay, as I mentioned before, everything is a fucking puppet show, alright? There's no such thing as parties when it comes to deciding what is going to be policy, how things are going to be enacted, what laws are going to be passed or not passed. There are no such thing as parties. There is no such thing as conservative, liberal, or anything else. The politicians that you elect do not represent you. They are told what to do by the people that give them fucking money. That's the bottom line. So they say whatever they need to say to get elected in order to rake in the cash from all of the big money interests that control this fucking country. So, let's get that out of the way right away. The conservatives, who probably fall more into the camp of the type of people who spout off about the Constitution. Oh, Constitution this. Oh, Constitution that. I can picture a lot of these people sitting at home in their underwear with their hand down their pants, scratching themselves, watching TV, and listen to the mainstream news telling about a bunch of nonsense celebrity bullshit and thinking in their head, yeah, Patriot, go United States, yeah! Thinking about how perhaps if somebody were to mention the illegal, unconstitutional fucking wars that we are involved in, they would be the first ones to pull out their fucking flag and start waving it around. Yeah, USA! Kill them fuckers! So they're always quick to jump on the Constitution, we gotta go back to the Constitution. Well, I got news to you. George Bush was right when he said the Constitution is nothing but a fucking piece of paper. And let me explain to you why that is. Because if you're not willing to fight for every single motherfucking right in there, then it is prone to be taken away from you by someone stronger or more powerful than you. And in this case, the federal government. Because half the shit that we live under now is unfucking constitutional. The Patriot Act. Where were all the fucking Tea Party motherfuckers and the conservatives out protesting against this invasion of our privacy? The star chamber courts that they have. No court orders needed. Snoop and spy as much as you want. How about the TSA? Blatantly unconstitutional. But more importantly, more unbelievably important, is the fucking wars that we have going on that are completely unconstitutional, especially Libya. And yet I can picture a lot of these people who want to spout off about how we need to get back to the Constitution. Don't have a fucking word to say about that. And then, What about the idea of undue influence? And what about the idea of the corporations running the fucking country through the proxies of your elected representatives? That is not what's envisioned in the Constitution, but I don't see anybody fucking hollering about that. And you're sitting there with your Constitution this and Constitution that. Because anybody more powerful than you, bigger or stronger than you, can take away your fucking rights, period. So they aren't really rights, are they? They're privileges that are granted to you based on whether or not someone thinks you fucking deserve them. Yeah, I think the Constitution is great if you can fucking enforce it. But in the meantime, if you think it's important to go back to the Constitution, then you better be fucking doing something about it, activist-wise, to point out the unconstitutionality of all of this fucking shit, especially the wars and the death and the military-industrial complex and the corporate takeover of the entire fucking country in a soft coup. I don't see any of that. So you know what? If you're going to sit there and scratch your balls and talk about the fucking Constitution, shut the fuck up! And I got another comment about Ron Paul and Rand Paul for people who still think you got some kind of saviors in these people. As I told you before, throw your fucking heroes out. They're fucking dead. And that goes for these two as well. And I'll give you a case in point, and I'll tell you exactly why this is so. You think that Ron Paul is going to end the wars if he miraculously gets into office? I have news for you. Wake up! He's never going to be elected in the first place. But if he was, do you think for a split second that he would actually be able to do anything in the largely superfluous office of president? Give me a break. And I'll illustrate another point to you. Look at what's going on in Michigan, all right? You have basically a completely unconstitutional takeover of local and municipal governments, okay, by the state, through this so-called Emergency Powers Act, which seems completely against everything that America stands for, okay? And you have these people appointed by the governor who will take over a township, municipality, or city, or whatever, okay, and dissolve their government. Totally unconstitutional, okay? Now, what do you think is going to happen next? They're going to start selling the assets of the state. The cities, the municipalities, the townships, all right? They're going to privatize them, okay? And they're going to be run for profit. Now, here's a key thing that I want you to understand, okay? And I'm going to bring this back to Ron Paul and Rand Paul, okay? They privatized the police force in municipality X, okay? It's run by a private corporation. I got a question for you. What's your remedy when you deal with a private corporation? Because it is not the fucking Constitution. They have no fucking obligation to follow anything in the fucking Constitution. And you will be thrown out of court if you try to challenge a corporation on the basis of the fucking Constitution. So, therefore, if Municipality X's privatized police force smashes in your fucking door, drags you to fucking jail, beats the living shit out of you, and steals all of your fucking property, where are you going to go for your remedy? Civil court? Well, how are you going to pay for that when they have just robbed you of all your fucking money? So the privatization scheme, that's the end game here, you understand. Everything run by corporations. And where does this fall back with Ron Paul and Rand Paul? Because they're Austrian school free market lovers. They love the free market that doesn't exist except in the fantasy lands in their own minds. They're all for privatization because they want no government. They want the smallest little government. So if you have a problem with your state being totally privatized, what's the federal government going to do when it's practically non-existent? They love this. So if your municipality is one that's going to be taken over and have a privatized police force and a privatized government and privatized public works, you have no constitutional protection. So I want someone to tell me how the free market loving Paul family is going to sit there on the one hand and say, we got to get back to the Constitution, whenever they're going to throw everybody under the fucking bus on constitutional protections, when everything is fucking privatized and run by corporations, which they would be completely in favor of. So explain that to me. And the next time you want to talk about getting back to the fucking Constitution, I want to know where the fuck you are, asshole. Where the fuck are you at? Why aren't you protesting the fucking wars? Why aren't you protesting 900 other things that you should be protesting? And one final note, okay, just to try to bring a little bit of clarity, all right? Are we all human beings? Is there a certain sense of obligation to each other through society? So anybody who wants to say, yeah, let's get rid of them social programs. Oh, we're going to get rid of that Social Security and that Medicare because it's destroying the country. Fuck you! Do we have any kind of sense of social and community responsibility? I think we do because we're all human beings. Do you have any fucking compassion? I do. And a lot of other people do. So if you want to talk about throwing the elderly under the bus, you want to talk about throwing the poor and the handicapped under the bus, fuck you. And if you want to talk about the Constitution and you're not doing a fucking thing to see that it's fucking enforced, and you haven't been for years, shut the fuck up. Because I'm sick of hearing you. Thank you.